Hello everyone! In the event of an accident or other incident, a new radar satellite system that will provide rescue services at flagship locations worldwide was unveiled in Coquerel. The Irish Aviation Authority system is supposed to end the phenomenon of the fading of radar planes that can hinder efforts to rescue and restore them. In this video, we have highlighted the 6 planes that disappeared. Before watching this video, you have to like and comment below to watch great video clips to enhance your knowledge. Number 1. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370's stunning disappearance has captivated the attention of millions of people worldwide as their search for the flight continues. What happened to the 239 passengers and crew on Saturday after the aircraft left Lumpur? As time passes, it becomes more and more desperate. One of the greatest aviation mysteries in the world is the demise of the Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, which carried 239 people. From Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, the aircraft disappeared on March 8, 2014. Seaside and Southern Indian Ocean rescuers have spent months scouring, but efforts have been reduced eventually. However, it is not the first mystery. While it is rare that a flight disappears with little trace, aviation history has witnessed its own fair proportion of huge disappearances and disastrous planes that physically fly away from the radar. Here are 6 of the half-defined and unexplained riddles of airline researchers who have been clueless for years. Number 2. Air France Flight 447. Air France Flight 447 crashed 10 years ago from Rio de Janeiro to Paris and lost 216 passengers and 12 crew members. In Ireland, this tragedy was vivid because of the deaths of 3 Irish doctors: Rathgar Jane Deasy, Dublin Company; Roscaria Aisling Butler, Tipperary Company; and Blygavan Aithna Walls, Company Down. The cause remained a mystery until the flight data from the black box and voice recorders from the water were retrieved. That was the speed recording device being frozen during a storm. The investigation cost 31 million euros and lasted 2 years. Number 3. AMELIA EARHART. AMELIA EARHART showed people throughout the globe how high a woman could go. As the first lady to cross the Atlantic Ocean on a plane, 1928, and subsequently the first lady to fly alone across the pond, 1932. However, in July 1937, when her plane, a twin-engine Lockheed Electra, flew across the world and disappeared near the international dateline in the central Pacific Ocean. Her story came to a tragic and mysterious conclusion. Although the accurate conditions of its disappearance, such as the likelihood of being stranded for years on an uninhabited island, are highly speculated by scholars and mystics, nothing is known with absolute certainty. Number 4. Flight 19 Torpedo Bombers. In December 1945, when 5 Navy torpedo bombers went out from Fort Lauderdale and did not return, one of the most significant aviation mysteries in American history was formed. The myth of the Bermuda Triangle was popularized. The 2 Air Force scouts who have been working on this case for over 25 years now have an impressive new theory. They believe the West Broward County torpedo bomber recovered in 1989 was the lead pilot in Flight 19, and that some of the other planes crashed on the ground as well. On December 5, 1945 at 7 p.m., Fort Lauderdale, now Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, about an hour and a half before Flight 19 was scheduled to return. Despite being around 4,000 feet above sea level and flying at about 135 miles per hour, the aircraft abruptly turned to a compass heading of 170 degrees or southeast, which had never happened before the disappearance of Flight 19, according to the 2 men. Based on the southeastern route, Meyer and Morocco have computed that, within miles of the torpedo bomber found 25 years ago, at least one single engine would have crashed into an 8-ton aircraft. Number 5. Flying Tiger Line Flight 739. The U.S. Army Flying Tiger Flight 739 flew from Guam to the Philippines during the first stages of the Vietnam War in March 1962 through the seemingly bottomless trench of Mariana in the Pacific. About an hour after the aircraft's final transmission, members of the Standard Oil tankers in the region stated that they saw a light explosion in the sky. Linked to the plane by some investigations, no distress calls were received by any air traffic control centers, making it difficult to pinpoint precisely when things started to go wrong for those on board. After an extensive search team of 1,300 personnel, 48 planes, and 8 surface vessels failed to find anything. Stories about what had transpired spread across the United States. Theories ranged from the United States government accidentally shooting it down and then covering their tracks to simple engine and communication failure. The actual cause, on the other hand, is unknown. No one will ever know what happened. Number 6. Vancouver Douglas DC-4. In 1951, the Douglas DC-4 took off from Vancouver and was scheduled to land at Anchorage Airport in Alaska. The flight arrived on time, 90 minutes out of Anchorage, at the Cape Spencer intersection in British Columbia, with an estimated arrival time of 2400 in Yakutat at Alaska. The weather worsened with only 500 feet of visibility. There was no more communication from the plane, and an emergency alert was issued at 044 hours, when it was too late to report it. There has been no trace of the ship or its occupants. In 1974, the Civil Aviation Authority, UUK, said, "The cause of the disappearance has not yet been ascertained because no evidence of an aircraft or its occupants has been discovered." The 6 crew members, 28 passengers, civilian U.S. military soldiers, and 3 UUN officials were part of the Canadian crew. However, the earliest reports in the New York Times indicated that 3 passengers were officials of the United Nations. Still, the United Nations headquarters in New York reported that there were no seamen or other officials. Thank you for your feedback. Please remember to subscribe to my next video.